you seem to feel that Hegel, within the context, is much more important than Kant. Why do you?
Because Hegel developed the Kantian theory, and it was from Hegel's development that Karl Marx developed the theory of Marxism. Kant had laid a foundation, but Kant had brought the mind into the conceptions that people had. But he had left the mind, but he hadn't been able to link the intellectual to the material. Hegel did that. Hegel linked Kant's intellectual conceptions to the material world. And therefore Hegel became, as Marx said,
How then important is the critique of pure reason? How would you say in terms of...
Because without the critique of pure reason, Hegel began with the critique of pure reason. That is the foundation of the modern conception of ideas and thinking, the critique of pure reason.
One of the most important essays that he has ever written, well, he didn't write it, he gave a speech in Montreal, I think it was in 1966, called The Making of the Caribbean Peoples. And one of the crucial moments in his development, or perhaps one of the important observations that I could ever make about James is there seems to be little separation between sociology, politics, economic theory, the novel. All of those see history, all of those seem to well or gel into a whole. Because here is this man living in a tiny island, quite like the Greek city-state, investigating for artistic and novelistic purposes English literature. He did it at school. At the end of his course at school, he went on to think of join the literary society, use one of the aids of Western civilization, the novel or drama, to develop an understanding of Caribbean society. So mentally, the discipline is the novel that Western civilization had developed. And he goes and lives close to the mass of barefooted, poor Caribbeans. And he creates characters out of them. And it's almost autobiographical because it's the relationship of the first generation of intellectuals with ordinary people.
Mm. That's interesting.
And the major character, he's a librarian.
Yes.
But he lives next door to a set of barefooted people who work on the wharf and did all kinds of miserable jobs in and around Port-au-Spain, the capital city. Mm. And he fashioned characters out of them. Mm. And there are hints of his political future in that novel. And he's not religious about it. He is not an absolutist about it, because in the novel, when he is going the opposite way to Western Union intellectuals who keep their eyes on England at the time and Europe, he was looking at his own people. And then at one point in the novel, when they started to behave in a ridiculous way that we can behave, he said he had demons of doubt about them. So that's the first thing he ever did. And there are two issues there, that they're not perfect. In fact, they're seriously imperfect, which shows his idealism into demons of doubt. So the first social category And the only social category that is available for somebody who has a novel in their mind is ordinary people.
Yes.
He's not writing from within the court of St. James, or he's not writing any kind of religious Anglican hocus pocus. He's looking at ordinary people. We are doing an interview in England. Last night there were two elections.
Yes.
One in Sedgefield,
Yes.
replaced Tony Blair, and one in Southall, where the
Yes.
Punjabis.
Yes.
And 40-something% of the electorate voted, 30%.
Yes.
I did a thing on a radio documentary on to vote or not to vote. If they haven't reached 60% of the electorate in a long time, there are huge swathes of it. So the political party is withering away.
Aha.
It is withering away. It has become an instrument for an authoritarian behavior. That there is no some cognoscenti get together in a room somewhere and come up with a manifesto for me. And we are excluded from it. It becomes more intense with immigrants. And those who join it just want to get up quickly. And so we see before our eyes the deterioration of the political party. Now, what do you put in its place? When you see the deterioration, you either begin to say, let's bring in the mass. But there's an elitism that keeps the mass out, where we intellectuals believe we know everything and they don't know everything. When I go back to Trinidad, I go sit in the ghetto. I've always been there, so it's not that I'm visiting as a sociologist. I'm just, DARCUSE. DARCUSE is my name, right? DARCUSE. And I'll sit down and listen. And they talk and they think. And the more and more that is ignored, is the more violent they become. The more you ignore it, and the more... So now the middle classes are quite dismissive of it in the Caribbean. And I think what drives the radical to find a replacement for it, because I think that CLR, sitting on the Vanguard Party, was informed by his Caribbean experience. It is that the society is small, and you have guys killing each other, and you can get to the middle class enclave in 5 minutes. So it's not far away. It is not like in India, thousands of miles away from the peasantry. It's there in your face to see that these people can do it. These people can transcend that political party of the petty bourgeoisie and in it replace a kind of democracy of the great city-state. That's what we say, right? And I'm not overrating myself, because in relation to a place called the Harp in Trinidad, I'm Plato. And I look for arguments, and I look for discourse, and then in no time at all you see 25 people gather around. I'm not campaigning for anybody to vote for me. They always tell me, go for election. I say, the last thing I want to do is to ask you to vote for me. Why don't you vote for yourself? And I think it's because of the size of the Caribbean and the availability, because we speak modern languages, of English and literature and history. The advances of Western civilization hit the West Indies immediately. We are able to make that leap, I think, more than any of the peoples in the modern world. I think we can do that. I think we can do that. I think Black Americans can.
I think I'm sympathetic to that critique. If it is a critique of Stalinism,
it comes from a critique not only of Stalinism. I mean, we as Caribbean peoples, what could be more Stalinist than Napoleon in relation to Haiti? I mean, we face that. We know that. I mean, our entire lives have been lived by that. At the slightest, Trinidad has had, I think, about 7 states of emergency since independence. That you can't walk in the road with more than 2 or 3 people. They lock you up, put you on an island, or get disgraced. A lot of university students went through that.
Yes.
At the slightest opportunity, everything collapses. And insurrection upon insurrection. Because you live there, I think my students at home have a problem of accepting what is ordinary and not seeing kind of fascistic tomorrow about it. What is perhaps fortunate for me, I know a lot of them. I went to Peace World College. I know they are government ministers. Hello, DARCUSE. You know, and they could turn tomorrow to the most vicious bastards you'll ever find on the face of this earth.
Because of party politics?
But the disintegration of party politics. What do you put in its place? Lloyd Best used to say a macro senate, which means a senate of the people. Whatever the form is going to be, we can't move any further parliamentary democracy. The heyday of parliamentary democracy happened in England. By the time we took it over, it was on the decline. If you look at any of the party conferences, you know what you see? Some revival biblical nonsense. Stand up for the leader, the righteous one, and says a load of garbage. You don't hear out of there a single advanced political idea.
Except on the fringes?
Of those parties?
Of the Congress.
What fringes?
I thought they have fringe Congress.
I know Basil Pandey, we were arrested together in Trinidad.
Yes, all right.
They just carry along people like sheep and don't understand when the rebellion comes, it comes systematically.
Spontaneously.
Spontaneously.
That's what he was saying.
People looking for something.
Yes. Yes. But his critique of Walter Rodney in that sense, that Walter was trying to build a party, and he said Walter has not studied the taking of power, that the people are not ready yet.
You know who organized that speech?
Oh, yeah?
Walter Rodney and the seizure of power.
Yes, the question.
And the question of power.
Yes.
And we published it.
Yes.
Yesterday published that speech.
Wow, powerful speech.
I had left Fulham, where I was living with my son's mother. CLR had come back from America where he was lecturing. I went to his hotel. I says, "You all right, Chief?" He says, "It's just sad, because I'm there about 4:07 in the morning." He said, I said, "Walter's dead." I told him the story. And he said, "Poor boy." And he put his mind to it at once. He had tremendous sentiments, but that never clouded what next to be done. And he came up with that. I understand that, what's the Indian boy's name? Yeah, I was babbling in Inities at OWTU about that.
Yes.
Walter Rodney, how shall I put it? He used to visit us when we used to leave. But Walter Rodney had become consumed by the military. He worked with Zanla and went into the forests of Africa training them in political theory and ideology and stuff. He did that for Mugabe. So he just got lost in that. Militarism. He had the population behind him. And that is the intervention they make. I understand Rupnarang says, well, we thought that was the thing to do. Can't get away with that. They did it with Trinidad with something called NUF. National United Freedom Fighters after 1970. They killed quite a number of them.
A New Beginning?
I was one of the founding members of it.
Of New Beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But we weren't, I think some of them were. But I wasn't. I was on the opposite side of it.
That's interesting. I still think that maybe part of the reason why our people have suffered so many setbacks is because we have relied more on spontaneity. The way Frantz Fanon, for example, will critique that and say that we need to get better organized. And CLR would say we need to get better organized.
Of course we need to be organized. I'm not spontaneous. But you can't move with your organization and develop it unless the mass moves. And to believe you can command the mass of Caribbean peoples on a moment of insurrection, they wiped Abu Bakr out within half a day.
That is true. Interesting. But then he did form parties, he did lead parties.
Oh yes, in 1966.
Socialist Workers' Party.
And that's, but in Trinidad he went back in 1966.
Yes.
Formed the Workers and Farmers Party.
Yes.
And I'll never forget what was his major banner, the abolition of the sugar industry.
And that has just happened?
Yes.
After all these years?
After all these years.
Interesting.
I am not saying that anybody's political tactics and strategy, because you can, as he's developed a sociology and a historicism about movements and people and so on. When you get on the ground, it's a different story.
That's true.
And you have to keep that in your head. It's not easy. It's easy to become messianic. It's easy to forget it. I've seen Jamesians forget the primary basis on which you move. Walter. Walter sat at CLR James' feet with myself. Walter looked like Richard Small and a whole bunch of us. And when he saw the masses in Guyana, he forgot it. And went for
the Big Bang.
The Big Bang. And he got the Big Bang.
Wow.
In reading CLR's politics and his political and economic theories and his sociology, it's a never-ending thing. It never concludes itself.
As I get it.
You have to keep going, and you set it up here, it breaks up, something else emerges out of it, and you have to keep with it. But what do you have to say about him? He was unquestionably, instinctively a Democrat.
Yes.
If you met him in a room, if you were sitting here and people came into this room, he would treat the cleaner. Even he'd get more from her than he'd get from an intellectual. He was that. He was easy with it.
Any cook can go.
And if you listen to him, you'll find out more about this cleaner than he knows. In fact, that's one of the things I've inherited. Ask ordinary people ordinary things. Instead of what they've replaced with that, the intellectuals, is the poll, the scientific polling. And I keep asking them, how do you know when you get an answer? If it's the beginning, the middle, or the end of a thought?
Quantitative answers.
Yeah. How do you know that? How do you know? How could you test that? And that's my training with him. That's my training with him. I haven't failed with it so far. And how out of that you can project not exactly the future, but the direction in which the river is flowing. And I've never been wrong. If you read Modern Politics, that was delivered in Port of Spain to an ordinary audience of, I think, about 500 people. If you were to meet any one of them, they're hardly alive, they tell you what they got from it.
Yes, I met one of them. Already.
And it was one of the, I mean, to read it, it's just quite extraordinary.
Interesting.
And that is what a political organization does. That you have to educate people.
Yes.
I had one of the sharpest hotshots in race today. That's we educated ourselves, and he was upstairs. Otherwise, we'd have brought out a magazine, but of no consequence. Otherwise, being a student, I wouldn't be writing in the New Statesman with respect. I mean, I'm not saying I want to do this columnist there, you know, making films and stuff. Because I have, and they said, you know what they said about me? I have an original take on things, like I'm an Obia man or something. It's my education with James, that's all that is.
Yes. Yes. It shows. So what would you advise sociologists today to do in a Jamaican tradition? How do we educate the people?
All I would say, first of all, is one, not to accept the division between sociology
And the other sciences.
and the other social sciences and politics. It's just that's the division of labor for guys to get professorships and
Yes.
stuff. It don't make any sense to me.
True.
And secondly, where it has not been rooted, sociology in the Caribbean can't be more than 50 years old, even if that long. They had a woman from Canada who came, and then a white man who wrote a book, and so on. And we have to write in a way and do it in a way in the Caribbean. Africa is more complex, obviously. That people, the ordinary working peoples and unemployed peoples of the Caribbean, we are everything. Without them, there is nothing. Without them, there is nothing. A sociologist must be able to tell me about the collapse of the West Indian cricket team. And why. And it's not the United States of America, it's just a handful of people. Each one of your students from the Caribbean could illustrate by their own families and try to get an understanding of them beyond the hand-me-down assessment of them from always comes from outside. That's what I find. The West Indian slave was not accustomed to that kind of slavery in Africa. And therefore, in the history of the West Indies, there is one dominant fact, and that is the desire, sometimes expressed, sometimes unexpressed, but always there, the desire for liberty, the ridding oneself of the particular burden which is a special inheritance of the black skin. If you don't know that about West Indian people, you know nothing about them. No. That's me. That's always going to be me. I can't put up with it. I'll bring the heavens down for it. And that is the Caribbean in which we live. Now, Africa is different. There are all kinds of customs and things that, and the white man was all over Africa.
And Trinidad is different from Barbados because of the multi-ethnic.
Absolutely, but in that place, you know, and this is going, I've been looking for something to guide my memoir thread. This is it.
Yes.
I'm not putting up with it.
Yeah, but you're still pitching it at the level of ethnicity or skin color.
Skin color, this is what he says.
Yes. How about gender? How about class?
All of that is fine.
Yes.
All of that enriches who my allies are. How I sympathize and win friends. But my purpose is to wipe that off the globe. It's the most paralyzing, with nothing else. You see, if you're in Africa, there's a tribe you belong to. There's this, there's all kinds of serious organization sociological structures in that society that the white man didn't touch. In India, they paid for it, not just Islam, it's all
The car.
sorts of. In the Caribbean, that is all, and that is all, and that is all. Unless we finish with that, it's going to haunt us and taunt us till the end of our days.
Colorism.
Colorism. No. I don't even want to ism it, right?
Okay.
He says that he calls it a desire. Doesn't call it ideology.
For liberty.
You see, it's a desire sometimes expressed, sometimes unexpressed, but always there. The desire for liberty. The ridding oneself of the particular burden, which is the special inheritance of the black skin. So because I'm this, I inherit a burden. And the thing is, you can't do anything about this.
Yeah, why is it a burden when it is a resource to protect us from the
Well, we have
sun
transformed it into that.
to protect us from the sun rays. The melanin is...
I will end in this way.
Okay, go ahead.
In primary schools, you used to get a report at the end of the year after you take some exams, like 7 years old, and then they would have, it was nicely drawn up on a sheet, the results, with red ink and black ink and geography, history, nature study, English, arithmetic, spelling. And I came second. And I rushed to my granny for holidays. And I gave it to her with a huge smile on my face. She said, take that smile off your face. When you're black, you have to come first.
Only the best is good enough.
Yeah. Otherwise you'll be a policeman. Or carrying what they used to call office boys. And that's where I began. I was a child. And she wasn't saying it in any provocative way. She was telling me something that all of us know.
Yeah, I was asking that question because I saw a lady yesterday at a lecture on slavery
Yeah.
at the City Hall.
Who gave it?
It was a professor from Ghana and, and a lecturer from LSE.
Who, Paul Gilroy?
No, not Paul. I've not been able to track Paul. I've been emailing him.
He's at the LSE.
I know, I went to his office, he wasn't there. I called his phone, he's not answered and all. But the lady said that she was turned off CLR when he was married to a white woman.
So?
Yeah, but I'm saying that the women might have a different take on his politics of gender. I wonder what did you ever discuss that with him?
No. I wouldn't think about it.
Because people are people before they're colored.
If you're in Greenland, know that I'm going with an Eskimo. That's what I used to say.
Yeah.
If I'm in Greenland, know I'm going with an Eskimo.
Yes.
And that is not to release my burden. In fact, I've mobilized many a white woman in the cause. Because it's me, it's my children, it's my grandchildren, of which I have 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, and I have one who's going to be born any minute now. My eldest one is Nathan. And he came to see me when I had come out of hospital. I was wasn't depressed a bit. Hating, a sudden slowing down of the tempo. And I thought the one thing I would wish before I die is that he's free of that. Because we have to create out of adversity. So we have creative powers. But so we have to transform reality almost in a simple political campaign. Now, in England right now, every time you make an advance, this is political correctness. So, MP who was in the shadow cabinet of the Conservative Party lost his job trying to justify calling black people a black bastard. They're still at it. It's so deeply ingrained in the civilization that they're still at it. And there are sections of them who counterattack.
Racist jokes.
What has eased it up? It's women.
White women.
Yeah, because they're fighting for that lifelong prejudice. To have a clitoris and a splice instead of a penis. It's discriminatory. So there's that battle going on, and we are going on. And I'm not giving up.